Let's look at this patriotic northerner. Of course, from what we can see, this is a man who has spoken the truth, talking about the true nature of what happens between the host communities and the herders. As we have it, this man have come out clearly to explain what happens between the Fulani herders and host communities, particularly the reported killing in the eastern part of the country and the one that happened in, of course, Plateau State. But let me quickly allow you to listen to him so that we'll further this conversation from there.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on a very, very sad note. Wallahi, yesterday and day before yesterday, when I saw the pictures, the gruesome pictures of the individuals that were unalived in Bokos, I wept for my country. Not just Bokos, in Ehamofu and also Adani in Enugu State. It is very, very unfortunate that these things are happening. These herdsmen, I don't understand how somebody is going to compare the life of a cow to a life of a human being. Who does that? Let's assume something happens to the herdsmen. Why would you take the laws into your hands? This is not the first time you people are doing this thing. I worked in Enugu for 5 years. I worked under the Enugu State Peace and Security Committee. There is no local government in Enugu that I have not been to, trying to curb this menace between farmers and herders. I've been to all these places, from Nkerefi in Ogu, to Adani, Isuzo, Uzuwani, Udi, Igwetiti, Igweze. You understand? I've been to all these places, Oba, Nsuka, because I was with the Enugu State Peace and Security Committee that was constituted by the former governor, Right Honorable Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. We go into these villages, we see the destruction that these herdsmen usually do and cause. So my problem is, what is wrong with the security architectures of these states? For how long these herdsmen attacks have been consistent for the past decade? I can remember the attack in Dogonawa in Jos. So I wonder, children that do not know anything about whatever it is, I wonder how you are going to take your cows close to somebody's farm, destroy the person's farm. Though I know sometimes the reaction from the farmers sometimes is harsh, of which I understand. It's difficult for you to put ones and twos together, farm, and then see it destroyed. But I wonder how this will now result to you coming back in the night and destroying a whole community, unaliving a whole community, unaliving over 100 people that know nothing about what transpired. For crying out loud, where is that done? Where is that done on this earth? Where is that done? Only in Nigeria. I saw the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Muftuanga. I would definitely applaud you, Mr. Governor, for your swift intervention in going to Bokos. I don't know what the Enugu State governor is doing about the Adani situation and that of Ehamofu. But I even saw the governor of Plateau State in Abuja trying to seal a deal with a security architecture about the surveillance, I think drones and some other things. But this has to stop. If you know what I experienced in Enugu, I'll find time and give you people. I have concrete details of what is happening between farmer and herders. I have details of the issues with the farmers. I have details of the issues with the herders. I think it's time we do something about this collectively. So if you condemn the killing of Deborah, now condemn the killing of the 16 people in Edo State, Uromi, and you're not condemning the killings in Bokos, then you are a hypocrite. What is wrong is wrong. You cannot side one particular people and you are expecting change. No. If you want to criticize constructively. That's just it. I'll be on the TikTok live this night, 9:30 p.m., 5th of April 2025, to discuss the massacre and unaliving of innocent souls in Adani, in Bokos, and the one of Ehamofu. Let's come on and discuss constructively and find a way out as concerned citizens of this country. Peace and love.
Have a listen to him. I think if every Nigerian speak the truth to an extent, we can together solve this problem. Because the issue is, in most cases, the Fulani pastoralists are the ones who instigate this violence. And in some cases, they end up inviting the other arm of the Fulani, of course, the Fulani militias. Because if you have a state and they have anti-open grazing law, I want to say that it behoves on the pastoralists themselves, the Fulani themselves, to abide by the laws, to obey those laws. Because the whole essence of making the law is for harmonious relationship between different ethnic groups. And this is where I want to encourage state governments, particularly in the southern part of the country, to start enacting anti-open grazing laws. Hence, they now have opportunity to enforce such laws through federal government initiative of forest guard. Because before now, state governments have consistently maintained that they do not command the security architecture in their respective states. Hence, it was difficult to enforce such anti-open grazing laws. But now that the federal government, particularly the president himself, have given a nod, not just a nod, an approval for forest guard, even went further to say that he is going to give attention to state police. So I want to believe that those states that are ravaged by serious levels of insecurity should jump at this offer with a speed of light. As far as I'm concerned, there is no better way to say it. The essence of having a police environment cannot be overemphasized. Because we have seen instances in the past, recent past, of course, where the current governor of Zamfara State will make it clear that in his capacity as a governor, that he has been able to acquire some level of technology that enables him to know the movement and location of bandits. But he lamented on his inability to command the security architecture to move them into operation. But now that this opportunity of forest guard is out, I want to believe that that will address that inability of his office to move the security architecture into operation. Because definitely, if he's the one that is engaging the forest guards, he's the one that is recruiting, definitely he's going to recruit locals from his states. More so, as the president have said that the forest guards will be strengthened. We understand that the strengthening means arming them to the capacity of being able to combat the bandits. I think this is a very big shift from the situation in the time past under the last government of Muhammadu Buhari, who deliberately refused to allow security arrangement at the state level to be armed. Because we understand that before you can procure and deploy arms at that level, you need an extra security that normally comes from the office of the National Security Advisor. And as you have it, the government of Muhammadu Buhari was not willing to give us such certificate. We could remember how his government was always at loggerhead with the then governor of Ondo State, Akeredolu, may so rest in peace, who was always challenging the Buhari then, that you cannot allow civilian JTF in the north to be armed and refuse to allow the Amatekun in the southwestern part of the country to be armed. Of course, we understand that Amatekun was formed by Act of State House of Assembly in the southwestern part of the country. But as we have it currently, the government currently have a different dimension to it. I must say it's a welcome development, because even before now we have seen the General of DSS talking about Ajayi, who came out clearly to say that these communities should be strengthened to be the fair line of defense in case of invasion. And I want to believe that that is a position have in a way helped to shape the mind of the president in arriving at the conclusion that forest guards should be given attention and even state police at some point should be given attention. I want to say that when we saw the news that made it around the other time, that federal government placed an order for about 50 fighter jets, it is a welcome development. Because all I can say is that federal government, in conjunction with state governments and local governments, should acquire monopoly of coercive power to police every inch of Nigeria's territorial integrity. I must say that is the way to go. The current approach we see in some states, in some local governments, in the northern part of the country, where you see bandits coming to negotiate with the communities, with the local government, in some cases with the states, is unacceptable. It's unacceptable because the negotiation or rather the peace is not sustainable. Because these are people who have no respect for human life. These are people who, from the evidence of the activities, have maimed, raped, killed at will. So the best option left for the government is to have monopoly of coercive power to coerce them, arrest them, prosecute them to act as deterrent to others. Alternatively, take them out in the battlefield to act as deterrent to others. That is why I was particularly happy when we saw the arrest of course, those two salutary leaders who are currently having their day in court. We understand that one of them have been convicted on the basis of illegal possession of firearms and illegal mining. We hope that one day the likes of Akwashi that operates in Faskari local government area of Katsina State, the likes of Todibelo, the likes of Adaleru, all of them operate in operate in Katsina and Savannah Aziz. We hope that one day they will be arrested, prosecuted to act as deterrent to others. I must say that the Nigerian government, in conjunction with state governments, must show will power, must show coercive power to address all of this. Because the more you negotiate with them and they demand for money, the more you give them the money, the more you strengthen them to wreak more havoc. Because anytime they feel dissatisfied with the peace you enter into with them, they will always come around to start kidnapping. That best explains the reason. Of course, I think this justifies the other time, because we understand that in the recent time, after a peace deal got broken down in Zamfara, the bandits came back and abducted people in a mosque. So for me, anything that negotiation should be out of the table. It doesn't matter the opinion of the likes of Shegumi, who have always advocated for negotiation, who have always advocated for non-kinetic approach, who have even discouraged his followers before the 2023 presidential election that he should not vote for anyone that will acquire more arms to fight bandits. So it doesn't matter the opinion. The legitimate thing for government to do is to acquire monopoly of coercive power, smoke them out of their hiding places, send them running, and bring them to justice. Because I cannot imagine a situation where a country like United States of America, United Kingdom, Russia, Israel, name it, will start negotiating with bandits. There are circumstances upon which negotiation is acceptable. There are circumstances is justifiable. But for instance, if you have your citizens in captivity and perhaps going for their rescue will endanger their life, under that circumstance, negotiation may be justifiable. Like when we had the Chibok girls in captivity, yes, negotiating for their release is understandable. Or when we had the issue of the Dapchi girls in captivity, negotiating for their release is understandable. But we cannot even forget in a hurry how American government, through American Navy SEALs, came into this country in sometime 5-6 years ago to rescue a 27-year-old Philip Wanton, who was kidnapped in Niger, taken to Sokoto State. How they came here, rescue him on hot. That is what we call capacity, competence. I think we should be taken in that direction. But I know that there are some circumstances where rescue will endanger the life of the victim. There's no doubt about that. In such circumstances, negotiation is justified. But not that citizens are not in captivity, you are negotiating to have peace with bandits. You can clearly see bandits coming to negotiation with fully armed. After the negotiation, going back to their camps, going back to their tents, to their abodes in the forest, in the bushes, as the case may be, fully armed. I must say that this implies that you have sovereignty with sovereignty. Because Nigerian government, as matter of urgency and necessity, need to have monopoly of coercive power or on every inch of its territorial integrity. That is what makes the government ultimate. Even after that, sharing territories with non-state actors. Not just non-state actors, non-state actors that in some cases, in some instances, have already acquired some level of coercive power, that even in some instances, they enforce their own law in some communities. You can clearly see in some videos where they are even whipping people with whip, enforcing their own laws. I must say it's unacceptable that the government will write to the occasion to address all of this. And that is why I'm not particularly charging those states like Zamfara State, like Katsina State, like Kaduna because of Southern Kaduna, like Plateau, Taraba, and even Kwara, to jump at this opportunity of this initiative of forest guard from federal government with a speed of light. Because as far as I'm concerned, that has come to address the inability of the state governors to command the security architecture in their respective states. Because we understand that in the time past, we have seen Iduna Jang as a governor of Plateau State who once complained that as a governor that he will not command the fly. I understand why, because as a governor then, you understand that the commissioner of police in his state is not under his command and control. The director of DSS in his state is not under his command and control. Other security heads in his state were not under his control. So, but now that the federal government has come with this initiative, I think it has come to give them that leverage, that power to command the security architecture in their state, to move them to operation. Hence, they'll be the one to recruit the personnel. But let me quickly say at this point that the traditional rulers that actually have the moral authority over the people should not be left out, should be appropriately and adequately integrated into the security arrangements. Because when it comes to intelligence gathering, of course, they are the one that stays with the locals, and the locals have confidence in divulging such intelligence to them, and I believe that they on their own can seamlessly disseminate or share such intelligence with the relevant security agencies for operation. Most especially to nip crime in the bud, because nipping crime in the bud is a better way of fighting crime. That way, the crime could be stopped from happening. We have seen in some videos where, of course, communities, through some level of intelligence, will discover people who supply ammunition to bandits, who keep gun for bandits. By the time you isolate them from the society, recover such gun, you have succeeded in depleting or depriving the bandits from making use of those weapons, thereby making the society safer. But let me say very thank you for that. This is Mr. Watt.